Welcome back. So we are going to pick up where you left off last time in designing your own logo from scratch in Adobe Illustrator. So last time you should have completed up to step number 5, which was grabbing your text, your imagery, and then also your color scheme and putting everything into Illustrator like you see here. So now we're ready to actually start using the different tools and things in Illustrator to transform it first into vectors. These pieces, as you copy and paste them into Illustrator, do not automatically transform into vectors from pixels like we wish they did. So we have to do a little bit of work for that, and I'm going to show you how to do that first. So I'm going to pop into my Illustrator where I was working. This is my end goal here. But let's pop into where you are. So this is what it should look like roughly. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to use a tool called Image Trace. Now, just like in Photoshop, you can find this tool in a couple different places. I can go up to Window and pull up the Image Trace option. And I really like to have this up because it gives me a lot of options. But then I need to be clicked on something, and you're going to have to do this individually with each element that you copy and paste in here. So I'm going to click on that. I always click on Preview. And I don't just want to see the tracing result, I want to actually see the outlines. And so essentially what I'm doing to create a vector is I'm outlining everything with these little, and right now they just like blue lines, but there's these little pathways. Okay, so by creating these little pathways, we're transforming our image from just these pixels into actual shapes, which can be vectorized and can be expanded as big as we want it to be, as big as a billboard, or as tiny as it needs to be, and never lose any of its character or value. And so that looks pretty good. It looks like it's outlining everything. If you have a really complicated one, then you might have to play in here a little bit. You might have to play with this threshold. Simplify. Mine's not super complicated, which I suggested to you guys, and I did on purpose because that's what works the best. Okay, and this looks pretty good. And so what I'm going to do is over here in the Properties panel, which if you don't have that for some reason, you can always go up to Windows and grab it, just like you can do with anything, but I clearly already have it. So over here, I'm going to click Expand, or I can do it up top in my options. So there's a couple different ways to do that. So what that's going to do is it's going to say, yes, I do want to trace all of this and basically turn it into these shapes that are vectors. So now what I've done is I have these little pathways, these little outlines around all the different details in my lettering. It even does pathways and things around like the white of this box, and even like the white inside of the A is its own shape. So it just takes all the pixels and makes it into shapes. But if I want to start altering those individually, I need to ungroup down here. And then if I click off of it, make sure you are in the selector tool. That's going to be the #1 tool you always go back to. So if you like shortcuts, that's shortcut V. You see there. So then what I can do is I can get rid of the stuff I don't need. So let me show you what I mean by that. For the purpose of this, I'm going to quickly just draw a rectangle that is a different color, not even a color I need. And I'm going to go over to my layers panel. Oh, I guess I'm sticking all of this on the same layer. That's not very helpful. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to arrange this. So now you can see all of this is like the white is even its own vector. So like I can move that and I have the white separately. And then it also helps me to be able to get rid of these little white parts, and I'm going to zoom in. These little tiny white parts that I don't want, because I really only want the writing on here. I want these two words, and that's it. All right, so once I've done that, I know I just have the words, so I can delete that rectangle that I had. And now these are vectors. So really cool. I can go back and start coloring these or doing whatever I need. I can move these around. These are separate right now, so I can kind of play with how these are working together. Lots of different things that I can do here. So then I need to do that to each of my different elements. So I'm going to do these a little bit quicker. I already have the image trace up. I want to make sure I'm previewing and it looks okay. So you notice it simplifies it when I do that. And then pop over to Properties, Expand. And I'm going to ungroup. I'm going to do that again for this one. Preview, make sure it looks okay. Looks good. Expand, ungroup. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did before. Like I'm going to just get rid of that background. So in order to help me do that, I'm just going to make another rectangle. This time I think I'm just going to make it gray. So I'll double click on my color picker like you've done a million times in Photoshop. And I'll just do this. Go back up to my selection tool so I can right click and send this to the back so I can just see what I'm working with. So I can actually see what's white and what's my background, okay? So now I know I can click on my background. And so now I just have these cute little shapes that I can start manipulating. So as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking I really don't want this stark black. And I'm probably ready for my next step, which, if I go back over here, is to begin using the eyedropper tool to recolor everything. And so I think what I'm going to do, as you see here, is I'm going to get rid of the black outlines, and I'm going to use the eyedropper tool to recolor these different elements. So let me show you what that looks like. You can keep the black outline, you can change it to a different color, you can do whatever you need to do for that, but for the purpose of mine, because I want it to be simpler, I am not going to keep it. I am going to get rid of it. So first thing I want to do is maybe I want to just click on every part that I think I want to be yellow, maybe. And make sure I'm clicking the middle, not the outline. It is easy to accidentally click the outline. And then I'm going to go over to my eyedropper tool, if you guys remember that from Photoshop. Shortcut I, and I'm going to just click on that. Okay, another thing to do at that point, if you know that all those should be the same color, is just to click group. So I'm keeping those together and happy. Then I think I'm going to go back to my selection tool, and I'm going to do the same thing with what I want to be this darker orange color. So I'm going to click on this and this. And then I'm going to do my eyedropper tool, which is eye. And then I'm going to just go ahead and I'm good. It's not giving me the quick action to group. So I can just right click and group there. Okay, those look pretty good. So now I'm going to start doing the same thing with these little parts. So I'm going to shift and select all of the different inner parts of my strawberry. Then I'm going to come up here and grab this color. And actually, I think this color is a little bit lighter than I want. I know it looks good on my color scheme, but I think I'm gonna make it a little bolder so you can actually see it. I feel like it's almost that white of the page, so we're gonna alter that a little bit. And then I'm going to group. So then I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna grab this part that I want to be my lighter pink. Eyedropper, done. And I don't really need to group that because, oh, maybe I do. There's a little piece right here. So I'm gonna go back to my selection tool to grab that. Shift, hold down so you can grab both of those. There we go. And then I'm gonna group that so it's one big piece. Go back to my selection tool. This one will take a little bit longer. So I'm gonna zoom in so I can see this. And I'm just holding down shift and grabbing these middle parts. In fact, I might even grab my stylus to make it go quicker. Nah, that's not faster. Tried, guys. What was I thinking, picking a strawberry that has all these little parts for my demonstration, huh? Oops, if you accidentally double click on something, what it's done is it's focused in on that one thing, and so I can just click off of it, except for now that means I have to start over. Look at this. This is how we learn. Hold down shift, keep going. Hope you guys are having a good day. Hope you guys learned from me not to do a strawberry. The best part will be figuring out which of these parts of the strawberry I missed. Okay, so now eyedropper tool. Oop, look, you can see right here I missed one. So I'm gonna go back to my selection tool, grab that one. Now I'm gonna go to my eyedropper tool. Okay, all of it looks like it's selected. I'm gonna grab this pink, come back. I like it. I'm gonna group them so that I don't have to do that again, right? Okay. Looking pretty cool, pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna click on and just delete my background because I don't need that anymore. And now I'm gonna go through and I think I wanna delete this harsh black outline because I really am not feeling that black outline. As I said before, I wanna just go ahead and get rid of that. In fact, an easier way to do that might be just to shift and grab those different colors, pull them down, and then come up here and select all that black, okay? That's gonna make it just a little bit simpler. So let's do that again. Shift, because I've grouped these into just 3 different colors, it allows me to quickly pull that and then delete. Nice, I think I really like those. So I have transformed that quite a bit. I'm now going to work a little bit more on my lettering and see what my options are there. So I can play with the colors, and so I think I'm gonna use my eyedropper, and I haven't used this blue yet, and so I think I wanna use this blue. Eyedropper, and I don't even have to go over there, I can just grab that blue right there. And then you can play with different tools that you are probably familiar with already, like the gradient tool if you wanted to. Here's a gradient. And I could alter so that this color was this. And then I could make the other side go into, I don't know, whites or something. And I could play with it like this, which I think is honestly pretty cool. But I think I want mine to be a little simpler. So I'm gonna get rid of that one. And I'm gonna Control Z to undo what I just did. There we go. Another little trick that I'm going to use is to just basically give it like a little bit of a shadow, especially when you have overlapping letters. It helps to kind of divide that up. So what I'll do is I'll just shift and grab both of these, Control and copy, and then paste. Oops, just to make another version. So let me get out of here. I'm gonna get some more room so you can see that. Oh, Control copy. What's it doing? Copy, paste. Am I just making a bunch of them basically? Yep, sounds great. Okay, and then I'm going to alter this to a different color. So I think I'm gonna pull from here because it's a little bit bolder of a color. And I can just kind of play with it behind that. So I can put it in front, which actually looks really cool. But I think for mine, I played with it and I ended up liking it better behind just a little bit. Yeah, that looks lovely. All right, so there is the main part of my logo starting to come together. Now I can start to take some of this. I can take it and group it all if I know that I like that. And then I can start to play with it up here with my lettering. Same thing with this one. I'm just gonna group that so it's just a strawberry. I'm gonna get rid of this image trace option because I really don't need it anymore. And then I'm gonna start to just kind of play with where things are. I might copy and paste. And then notice it's so simple in Illustrator to be able to just move things around, play until you like it. If something's in the wrong order, yes, you can use your layers, but in here it's also really easy just to arrange. So bring that to the front if I want it to be like kind of spilling on there. Keep playing, keep playing. And that's what I've done already, so I'm not gonna bore you with this as I continue. Some things to think about as you're playing for step 8 is to think about playing with proportions, playing with layers, the gradient tool. You can add shapes. Most of these tools you're probably familiar with from Photoshop, and so feel free to just keep going with those. If you're unsure about anything, look up how to use it. For example, the Pathfinder tool is incredibly helpful if you're trying to combine to create a different shape. And so you can put different shapes on top of each other, and then there's different parts to the Pathfinder tool that you can click to do all these different interesting things. So here's a little video about it. And hopefully by the time you're done, you'll end up with a logo that you're happy with, that's original, creative, simple, and relevant to your design. And that's where you're gonna end here. We will go on to apply this to some actual product and to clean up and create a finished branding mood board when you're totally done. But this is it for this video. Great job. It was nice of me to say great job to myself. Thanks for listening, guys.